Welcome everyone. We are doing a series of videos where we are challenging beliefs about ourselves that we might have been operating from for a long while that aren't serving us in our lives. And these might be called limiting beliefs, but also false beliefs, false self-concept beliefs. And these often can arise from when you are much younger. We often find that a lot of our beliefs, our fear-based beliefs, can be formed within first 8 years of age, and often are coping beliefs. So what are coping beliefs? Coping beliefs are beliefs that you form in the moment of something happening that's out of your control, you can say, or not receiving care the way that you needed to. So a need that wasn't met. So you have some unmet needs, whether it was to be loved, accepted, to feel safe, to feel validated within those first 8 years of age. And you form that belief or story to help you cope with the situation. So let's dive into an example. For example, one might be that you were trying to get your parents' attention. You know, maybe drew something or a painting, and you went to your mom, and you were so excited because you made it for her, and she was busy. Maybe she was cooking, she was on the phone, and then you showed it to her with so much love, and then she was like, "I'll look at this later." And so, as a child, where you don't have enough maturity, you don't have enough emotional, but also just mental maturity, you might process that as mama doesn't love me. Or that might then become a coping belief of, well, maybe I've done something wrong, or maybe I am not enough, or I am unlovable. Now, this has been studied to see where child psychology is really important because children are very attached to their parents. It is a survival attachment. They need their parents up to those 8 years of age to feel safe, to feel provided for. And they would rather believe something is wrong with them than the parent, because if something was wrong with the parent, that would mean I need to break my attachment, but also my survival. Where will I get shelter, food, etc.? So a lot of coping beliefs are self-coping beliefs. And it's kind of like self-inflicted in a way. So a child might be like, well, I'm not lovable, and that's why mom didn't accept it. Or I've done something wrong, or I didn't do enough. Now, from these wounds, as you can see, might arise different things. So if you feel you're not lovable, you might then, as an adult, continue to believe whenever love is given to you that I can't accept it. And so maybe you reject compliments, maybe you don't celebrate yourself. It can come as deep as that. Then is I'm not worthy. And so same thing, these two can be the same. So love and worthiness. But also where you don't appreciate yourself as much. You don't give yourself enough credit for things. And then I've done something wrong. So no matter what you've done in life, you always walk with this feeling as an adult that I've done something wrong. And these three can be connected. You might be, I've done something wrong because I'm not enough and I'm not lovable. And so here you might form traits of perfectionistic views. So I have to keep going, or I have to do this perfect. Sometimes we don't have to do things perfect. If you're just, being creative and, for example, I strum my guitar, I'm not a professional in any way. I just like strumming it. I like the sound. I don't care to be perfect. I don't care to learn into perfectionism. I just like the tunes of it. But some of you might be like, no, I gotta get this chord right. Or if you're doing it in a task, an assignment at work, a project at work, you won't end till you got it perfect. Or this is self-inflicted, where you might be, taking care of yourself or viewing yourself from a place of, I can't get it right, and I have to be perfect to be able to accept myself. So these are some deep core wounds, and we want to give it as much love as possible. So let's talk about let's further talk about these coping beliefs. Now, these coping beliefs, we would like to first understand our little child part of us, so our inner child that is just trying to survive. It doesn't really mean that you're unlovable. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seen or you've done something wrong. And if we don't go and nurture these wounds, first to become aware of them, but then to accept them with love and compassion. And I often say, let's work with one of them. So let's say I'm not enough. Let's go back to the first time, point of origin, where you felt you weren't enough. And what happened? Let's really dive into that story. Let's read that chapter again in your life. What happened for you then? And maybe it was a circumstance where we're not looking to place blame. We are looking to take responsibility, where maybe the parent was someone who just didn't care for you as a child. Sure, let's make this the worst case scenario. Okay, so what was your need then? As a child, you wanted to feel loved, safe, protected. Now, what happened then we can change, but we can change the internalized perception belief as well. Okay, so my little me needed love and acceptance. Can you today, however old you are, meet this inner child and give it the love and acceptance? This might seem very kind of out there, but I have seen such great shifts in people. So I would ask you to close your eyes, find that little child, and remember, if you can remember that first instance where you weren't accepted or you didn't feel enough. Okay, so maybe it was that painting you were giving to your mom. And then what happened in that child? Walk yourself through that child's stories. So she was hunched over, she walked away, she might have cried, she might have been sad. Now, typically in this environment, if you have an emotionally nurturing present parent, the parent will come and nurture the child, apologize and hug her and make her feel safe. When the after part doesn't happen, and the child is alone in that, that is where trauma arises. So trauma isn't the event itself, it's what story was internalized as a result of it. And when there was no way of healing present for that child, okay? So now the child is alone and they were sad, etc. And the grief gets stored in the body. So trauma is stored in the body. There can be a memory, but it's stored in the body. Can you go and access that part and just be present with that child? As if you're present in this moment, and that absent parent figure that wasn't there, can you be the parent? So let's go in and meet that child. I often try to get folks to just, if they have a picture and they can remember themselves, so if they can remember the age where this happened, and I'm like, do you have a picture of yourself then? And I ask you to put it, if you can put it in front, and you just like viewing it and you're like, okay, so I've gone and met her. What would you say to her? What were the words that you needed to hear then? What were the actions you needed to hear then? And just seeing if you can be present there. So maybe saying to that child, I'm sorry I was busy in the moment, or what you did was amazing. This is a beautiful picture. I'm sorry you didn't get acknowledged for it. But today I'm here to acknowledge it. And is that okay? This is where healing starts to occur. Giving yourself love is literally where healing is going to start to occur in these wounds, and then giving it love over a period of time. So this is where we can establish safety within, and that feeling of I'm not enough or I'm not loved, whatever that coping belief was, first understanding it that this arose from a place of survival, and it might not necessarily be true. If I were to challenge it and ask you to challenge it, so just asking yourself, is it true that you feel completely unworthy all the time? Can you prove that to me by maybe giving me, let's play devil's advocate here and tell me about times where maybe you did feel worthy of yourself, of your love and care and attention. And so there's a little bit of this conflict and disconnect, and we want to bring these parts together as a whole and bring it to love. So love is going to be able to bring these back together. Okay, so hopefully this helps. The other piece, I guess this is a very important part, is we are not our thoughts. We are not our beliefs. We are so much more than that. We are a whole soul and entity. And we often connect ourselves to our beliefs, our belief systems, our coping beliefs, our thoughts, right? So I can think I am a unicorn and I can operate my day as if I'm that. I can also think that I'm a horrible person. And if I keep reinforcing that thought and just labeling, so literally putting a name tag on myself, I'm a horrible person, and walking around, I'm going to start to feel like a horrible person. So recognizing, becoming aware that our thoughts are not our identity. It's not who I am. And if once we create that distance, we're like, okay, so instead of saying, I'm a horrible person, I am a horrible person. Let's remove the am and say, I am having a thought that I'm a horrible person. Do you see the difference between that, the subtle shift there? There's a little bit of a distance between that. So You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. We have emotions. We experience emotions. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my emotions. I am. And this I am is a whole separate entity than the thoughts and the emotions. Maybe even getting to know who you are. A lot of folks can initially struggle with this. So what is this I am? Who is this I am? Take your name. So I am. And who is she or who is he? Be curious about it. We often struggle, and I know we often like to introduce ourselves by, the career paths we've taken, and that's usually the introduction. But let's drop that. Who are you? I am a soul who is kind, loving, funny, confident, da 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 da. That's who you are. And the further you strive away from it, your thoughts are always going to pull you from that. Your emotions are going to pull you in that. We want to help them come back. We want to kind of help them navigate coming back. So you are, okay? We're going to end with that, and we'll be doing more videos on this. If you really enjoy this, please let me know. And if you have any further questions or just maybe comments, put them in and we'll see if we can get them answered in another video. Till then, take care and be kind to yourselves. Bye.